Mythical Pokémon are some of the rarest in the Pokémon world, each carrying unique stories, hidden details, and lore that often go unnoticed. Tonight, we'll slowly explore those facts that make these Pokémon so memorable. Deoxys stands apart from most mythical Pokémon because its origins are defined more by science fiction than legend. While many mythical Pokémon are connected to forests, dreams, or mysterious dimensions, Deoxys begins its story in space. According to its lore, Deoxys was once a virus floating through space before being struck by a laser beam that caused it to mutate into a sentient Pokémon. This origin immediately gives Deoxys a unique identity within the Pokémon world. Rather than being born from nature or ancient mythology, it represents transformation through technology and cosmic influence. Deoxys first appeared during Generation 3 alongside Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, though players could not normally encounter it within standard gameplay. Like many mythical Pokémon at the time, it was distributed through special real-world events. This rarity contributed to its mysterious reputation, making it one of the most talked about Pokémon among players who heard stories of it long before actually seeing it. Visually, Deoxys reflects its alien origins. Its body is slim and humanoid, but clearly unnatural, with segmented limbs and a crystalline organ embedded in its chest. This chest core is often described as the center of Deoxys's intelligence and power. In various depictions, the core glows or shifts color depending on its actions, reinforcing the idea that Deoxys is powered by energy, unlike anything else in the Pokémon world. One of the most distinctive aspects of Deoxys is its ability to change forms. Unlike traditional evolutions, Deoxys can shift between multiple forms depending on specific conditions, each emphasizing different strengths. The normal form balances attack and defense, while attack form increases offensive power at the cost of durability. Defense form prioritizes survival, and speed form focuses on agility. This form-shifting mechanic mirrors its lore as a mutated organism capable of adaptation. The existence of these forms also reflects development experimentation during Generation 3. The developers were exploring new ways to make Pokémon feel dynamic beyond simple evolutions. Deoxys became a showcase for this idea, demonstrating how one Pokémon could embody multiple strategic identities while remaining a single entity. In the games, Deoxys's stats reinforce its unusual nature. It possesses extremely high values in specific categories depending on form, making it feel unstable but powerful. Trainers often needed to choose carefully which form suited their team, adding an additional layer of decision-making uncommon at the time. Deoxys's connection to space is further emphasized through its signature move, Psycho Boost. The move delivers massive psychic damage while lowering Deoxys's special attack afterward, suggesting bursts of overwhelming energy that require recovery. This mechanic aligns with the concept of a creature wielding immense but volatile power. The anime expanded Deoxys's lore significantly. In the movie Destiny Deoxys, it is portrayed as a misunderstood alien life form attempting to reunite with another Deoxys. The story emphasizes themes of fear and misunderstanding, showing humans and Pokémon reacting cautiously to something unfamiliar. Rather than portraying Deoxys as villainous, the movie frames it as a creature simply trying to survive and reconnect, reinforcing its alien but sympathetic identity. A key detail in the film is Deoxys's ability to regenerate from its core. Even when its physical body is destroyed, the core remains intact and eventually rebuilds itself. This regenerative property further distinguishes Deoxys from most Pokémon, suggesting that its body is more like a construct generated by energy rather than biological tissue. In terms of hidden lore, Deoxys represents one of the earliest clear examples of extraterrestrial life in the Pokemon universe. While later generations introduced Ultra Beasts and dimensional travel, Deoxys laid the groundwork for the idea that Pokemon could originate beyond Earth entirely. The event distribution for Deoxys added to its mystique. Players who attended official events received an Aurora ticket, granting access to Birth Island, a remote location where Deoxys awaited. The encounter itself involved solving a simple triangle puzzle before triggering battle. This setup felt ritualistic and mysterious, enhancing the sense that Deoxys was unlike ordinary Pokemon. Birth Island's minimalistic design also contributes to atmosphere. The location is isolated, silent, and almost artificial in appearance, matching Deoxys's extraterrestrial theme. The battle feels less like encountering a legendary guardian and more like contacting something unknown. Development discussions have suggested that Deoxys was designed to contrast with Rayquaza, Hoenn's sky-dwelling legendary. While Rayquaza represents natural balance between land and sea, Deoxys represents foreign intrusion from space. Their clash in the anime reflects this symbolic contrast between natural order and cosmic anomaly. Another subtle detail lies in Deoxys's name. It appears derived from deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, reinforcing the theme of mutation and genetic transformation. This scientific naming choice sets Deoxys apart from mythical creatures inspired by folklore, emphasizing its modern, almost experimental identity. Fans have long speculated about Deoxys's role within the broader Pokemon universe. Because it originates from a virus, some interpret it as evidence that Pokemon biology can emerge from unexpected forms of life. Others view it as a metaphor for adaptation and evolution under extreme circumstances. In competitive play, Deoxys became known for specialized roles depending on form. Attack form could deliver devastating strikes but required careful protection. Defense form excelled at setting hazards and supporting teams. Speed form acted as a rapid utility option, reflecting its versatility. Despite its power, Deoxys remained balanced by fragility in most forms. This design choice reinforces the idea of a creature optimized for specific tasks rather than broad stability. Over time, Deoxys transitioned from event exclusivity to more accessible encounters in remakes and later titles. This shift allowed new generations of players to experience its story directly, but it never fully lost its aura of mystery. The design of Deoxys continues to feel distinct, even compared to modern mythical Pokemon. Its angular limbs, shifting forms, and glowing core give it an almost abstract quality. It looks less like an animal and more like an idea brought to life, a living example of mutation and adaptation. Ultimately, Deoxys represents a turning point in mythical Pokemon storytelling. It introduced science fiction themes into a franchise that previously leaned heavily on myth and nature. Its lore expanded the boundaries of what a Pokemon could be, suggesting that life in this universe extends far beyond the planet itself. As players encounter Deoxys, they are not simply meeting a rare Pokemon, they are encountering a being shaped by cosmic forces, adaptation, and survival. Its story encourages curiosity about the unknown and reminds us that not all mysteries originate from ancient ruins or forgotten legends. Some arrive quietly from the stars. And in the calm stillness of space, Deoxys remains a symbol of transformation, drifting between forms and worlds, forever adapting to wherever it finds itself next. Meloetta is one of the most unusual mythical Pokemon because its identity is built around sound, performance, and emotion, rather than power or ancient conflict. While many mythical Pokemon are connected to cosmic events or hidden dimensions, Meloetta represents something more personal and artistic. Its lore centers on music's ability to influence feelings, preserve memories, and connect individuals across time. This makes Meloetta feel calmer and more intimate compared to other mythical Pokemon, fitting naturally into a slow, reflective style of storytelling. Introduced in Generation 5 alongside Pokemon Black and White, Meloetta arrived during a period when the Pokemon series placed greater emphasis on narrative themes and emotional storytelling. The Unova region itself drew inspiration from modern cities, cultural diversity, and artistic expression, making Meloetta's musical identity feel especially fitting. Rather than being tied to environmental forces or ancient guardianship, Meloetta represents creativity and cultural memory. Visually, Meloetta resembles a performer more than a fighter. Its design combines graceful lines with musical motifs, including hair shaped like flowing notes and a head ornament resembling a musical staff. Its posture appears calm and poised, as though constantly prepared for performance. This design immediately communicates elegance rather than aggression. One of Meloetta's most distinctive features is its ability to change between two forms, aria form and pirouette form. Aria form emphasizes graceful singing and psychic abilities, while pirouette form shifts toward movement and dance, becoming more physically oriented. The transformation occurs when Meloetta uses its signature move, Relic Song, a mechanic that links gameplay directly to thematic identity. Relic Song itself is an important detail. The move deals damage while also triggering Meloetta's form change, symbolizing how music can transform both performer and audience. This mechanic reflects the idea that art is not static, but dynamic, capable of changing mood, energy, and perspective in an instant. In aria form, Meloetta is a normal, psychic type, suggesting mental influence and emotional resonance. In pirouette form, it becomes normal, fighting, emphasizing rhythm, movement, and physical expression. This duality captures the balance between song and dance, voice and motion. Lore descriptions of Meloetta often mention its ability to evoke powerful emotions through its voice. People and Pokemon who hear its melodies may experience joy, nostalgia, or calmness. Some Pokédex entries suggest that ancient songs remembered by Meloetta have been passed down through generations, implying that it acts as a living archive of cultural memory. This connection to memory is significant. Many mythical Pokemon guard objects or locations, but Meloetta seems to guard experiences themselves. Its music preserves feelings and stories that might otherwise fade with time. In the anime, Meloetta plays an important role during the Pokemon Black and White series. It is portrayed as gentle and curious, forming bonds with Ash and his friends, while being pursued by forces that wish to exploit its power. The show emphasizes Meloetta's vulnerability, portraying it as a being that inspires peace rather than conflict. One notable storyline involves Meloetta's connection to ancient ruins and ceremonial dances. These scenes reinforce the idea that music and ritual are deeply intertwined in the Pokemon world. Meloetta's songs are not merely entertainment, but part of cultural heritage. From a development perspective, Meloetta reflects Game Freak's experimentation with form changes tied directly to moves rather than external items or environmental conditions. This design choice made Meloetta feel fluid and performance-oriented, as transformation could happen organically during battle rather than through preparation outside combat. The musical inspiration behind Meloetta's design has been widely discussed by fans. Its aria form resembles classical vocal performers, while pirouette form draws influence from ballet dancers. These inspirations align with Unova's broader aesthetic, which incorporates global artistic influences. The name Meloetta likely derives from words like melody and pirouette, reinforcing its dual identity as singer and dancer. This naming convention highlights how deeply the concept of music is embedded into every aspect of the Pokemon. In competitive contexts, Meloetta's flexibility allows it to adapt to different roles depending on form and moveset. Aria Form's higher special attack supports ranged strategies, while Pirouette Form's speed and physical power enable more aggressive approaches. However, switching forms requires using Relic Song, adding an element of planning and rhythm to battle strategy. Despite these strengths, Meloetta remains relatively balanced due to its reliance on setup and its vulnerability to certain common types. This balance reflects its thematic identity. Meloetta is not about overwhelming force, it is about harmony and timing. One subtle but interesting detail is how Meloetta's two forms represent different kinds of expression. Aria Forme feels introspective and emotional, while Pirouette Forme feels energetic and outward-facing. This contrast mirrors the way music and dance can express both inner feelings and external celebration. Event distribution also contributed to Meloetta's mystical reputation. Like many mythical Pokémon, it was originally obtainable only through special events, often tied to movies or promotional campaigns. This scarcity reinforced its status as something rare and culturally significant. The idea of a Pokémon connected to art rather than battle expanded the possibilities of mythical Pokémon storytelling. Meloetta demonstrated that rarity could be associated with beauty and creativity instead of pure power. Its signature move, Relic Song, also contains hidden narrative implications. The word relic suggests ancient origins, implying that Meloetta's music predates modern civilizations. Some fans interpret this to mean that Meloetta's songs are remnants of forgotten eras, preserved through endless performance. The contrast between its calm demeanor and potential power adds depth to its character. Meloetta rarely appears aggressive, yet its abilities can dramatically alter emotional states and battle flow. This duality reinforces the idea that influence does not always require force. In the broader context of the Pokémon series, Meloetta represents a rare focus on culture and performance. While other mythical Pokémon embody natural or cosmic themes, Meloetta embodies human-like creativity, bridging the gap between Pokémon and artistic traditions. The transition between forms during battle also introduces a sense of rhythm. Trainers must consider timing carefully, almost as if conducting a performance. This design choice subtly encourages players to think about battles as flowing sequences rather than isolated turns. Another hidden detail lies in Meloetta's connection to ancient relic sites in Unova. These locations often feature music or dance motifs, suggesting that civilizations within the Pokémon world once held Meloetta in high regard. Whether Meloetta inspired these traditions or emerged from them remains intentionally ambiguous. Meloetta's presence in spin-off media further reinforces its musical identity. Appearances in side games and promotional events often focus on song-based interactions rather than combat scenarios. Over time, Meloetta has remained somewhat understated compared to more visually dramatic, mythical Pokémon. Yet this quiet presence fits its identity. It is not a creature that demands attention through spectacle. Instead, it draws attention through subtle charm and emotional resonance. Ultimately, Meloetta expands the concept of what a mythical Pokémon can represent. It shows that myths are not only about gods, destruction, or hidden realms. They can also be about art, memory, and shared experience. In a world filled with legendary battles and ancient powers, Meloetta offers something quieter. It reminds players that stories and emotions can be preserved through music, passed down like melodies that never fully fade. And as its songs echo across generations, Meloetta remains a symbol of harmony, a mythical Pokemon whose greatest power lies not in conflict, but in the way a single melody can bring people and Pokemon together, even long after the performance ends. Hoopa stands out among mythical Pokemon because its story feels playful on the surface while hiding something far more powerful underneath. At first glance, Hoopa appears small and mischievous, almost toy-like in design, but its lore reveals connections to dimensional travel, immense power, and ancient legends buried deep within forgotten civilizations. This contrast between playful personality and overwhelming potential makes Hoopa one of the most fascinating mythical Pokemon introduced in the series. Hoopa first appeared during Generation 6, the era of Pokemon X and Y, though it was not immediately accessible through normal gameplay. Like many mythical Pokemon, it was distributed through special events, which added to its mysterious reputation. Players heard about Hoopa long before they were able to encounter it themselves, creating curiosity around its unusual abilities and hidden lore. Visually, Hoopa's design reflects duality. In its standard form, known as Hoopa Confined, it resembles a small genie-like creature with a floating ring around its body and bright, expressive features. Its playful pose and compact size suggest harmlessness, almost inviting underestimation. However, even in this form, its golden rings hint at something extraordinary. These rings are not decorative. They are portals capable of connecting distant places instantly. The true depth of Hoopa's character becomes clear through its alternate form, Hoopa Unbound. Triggered by a special item called the Prison Bottle, this transformation dramatically changes Hoopa's appearance. It becomes enormous, more imposing, and distinctly monstrous, with multiple arms and a much darker aesthetic. The shift from confined to unbound form symbolizes released power and loss of restraint. This dual form concept carries strong narrative implications. Hoopa Confined is described as sealed or restricted, suggesting that its immense abilities were intentionally limited by ancient people who feared its full potential. Hoopa Unbound represents what happens when those limitations are removed, revealing a force capable of reshaping space itself. In gameplay, Hoopa's form change alters both its typing and stats. Confined Hoopa is a psychic, ghost type, emphasizing mystery and illusion. Unbound Hoopa becomes psychic, dark, reflecting a more aggressive and unpredictable nature. This mechanical transformation mirrors the lore perfectly, reinforcing the idea that Hoopa's power changes not just physically, but thematically when unleashed. Hoopa's signature ability revolves around its rings, which function as dimensional gateways. In lore, Hoopa can summon objects, people, and even other legendary Pokemon through these portals. This concept was explored extensively in the movie Hoopa and the Clash of Ages, where Hoopa's rings bring legendary Pokemon into battle on a massive scale. The film portrays Hoopa as energetic and playful, but also burdened by the destructive consequences of its unbound form. The story emphasizes themes of control and identity. Hoopa's power is not inherently evil, but unchecked emotion and impulsiveness can lead to chaos. This narrative adds emotional depth, portraying Hoopa as a being learning to understand its own strength. One of the most intriguing details about Hoopa is how its rings seem to ignore traditional limitations of space and distance. Objects and beings can appear instantly from faraway regions, implying that Hoopa's power transcends normal physical laws within the Pokemon world. This ability positions Hoopa as a bridge between locations, eras, and potentially dimensions. From a development standpoint, Hoopa reflects Game Freak's growing interest in dimensional concepts during Generation 6. This era introduced themes of alternate timelines and multidimensional energy through Mega Evolution and later expanded into Ultra Space in subsequent generations. Hoopa can be seen as an early exploration of these ideas, acting as a narrative gateway between worlds. Hoopa's design also draws inspiration from mythology and folklore. Its genie-like appearance evokes stories of wish-granting spirits bound by magical objects. The rings resemble ancient artifacts or magical seals, reinforcing the idea that Hoopa's powers are both mystical and dangerous. The prison bottle item used to transform Hoopa adds another layer of intrigue. The name itself suggests containment rather than enhancement. Unlike evolution stones or megastones that unlock growth, the prison bottle implies that Hoopa Unbound is the natural state, while confined form is artificial restraint. This inversion challenges typical Pokemon progression patterns. Instead of striving toward greater power, Hoopa's story questions whether limitless power should be pursued at all. In competitive play, Hoopa Unbound became known for its extraordinary offensive stats. Its ability to hit hard from both physical and special sides made it unpredictable. However, it also carried defensive weaknesses, balancing its immense offensive potential. This fragility reflects the idea that raw power without protection can still be vulnerable. Another hidden detail lies in Hoopa's relationship with legendary Pokemon. The ability to summon them through rings suggests that Hoopa does not command these beings directly, but temporarily connects their locations to its own. This distinction keeps Hoopa from feeling like a ruler of legends and instead emphasizes its role as a dimensional mediator. Fan theories often speculate about the origin of Hoopa's rings. Some suggest they are ancient artifacts created to control it, while others believe they are natural extensions of its power. The games leave these questions unanswered, preserving Hoopa's mystique. The contrast between Hoopa's playful personality and destructive potential makes it unique among mythical Pokemon. Many mythicals are portrayed as distant or serene, but Hoopa feels emotional and impulsive. This characterization adds unpredictability and humanity to its narrative. Its rings also function as a symbolic motif. Rings often represent cycles, boundaries, and connection. In Hoopa's case, they represent both freedom and limitation. They allow instant travel, yet also serve as tools of containment. The animation and movements of Hoopa reinforce its playful side. In both games and media appearances, it floats energetically, often smiling or laughing. This cheerful demeanor makes the reveal of its unbound form even more striking, highlighting the tension between innocence and overwhelming capability. From a lore perspective, Hoopa expands the Pokemon universe by suggesting that space itself can be manipulated by certain beings. This idea later echoes in stories involving ultra wormholes and parallel worlds, showing how Hoopa contributed to broader thematic evolution within the series. Event distribution for Hoopa often included special in-game encounters or story snippets, further emphasizing its role as a mysterious outsider. These limited-time events reinforced its mythical status, making each appearance feel significant. Despite its immense power, Hoopa's story ultimately revolves around self-control. The conflict between confined and unbound forms reflects a universal theme, the challenge of balancing potential with responsibility. This theme resonates quietly within the calm pacing of a sleep-focused narrative. Hoopa is not simply a creature of chaos. It is a being learning how to coexist with its own abilities. In the larger context of mythical Pokémon, Hoopa represents transition and connection. It links places, summons legends, and bridges gaps between worlds. Yet it also reminds players that connection without understanding can lead to instability. As players learn about Hoopa's lore, they encounter a story that blends whimsy with cosmic scale. A small, smiling Pokémon capable of opening portals to anywhere in existence embodies both wonder and caution. And in the quiet motion of its floating rings, Hoopa remains a symbol of endless possibility, a mythical Pokémon that shows how even the smallest figure can hold the power to reshape worlds, provided it learns when to open the door and when to keep it closed. Volcanion is one of the most distinctive mythical Pokémon because it feels grounded in the physical world while still carrying an air of mystery. Unlike many mythical Pokémon that are associated with dreams, cosmic origins, or abstract concepts, Volcanion's identity is tied to something tangible and elemental: steam. Its lore blends fire and water, two opposing forces, into a single creature that embodies balance through pressure and transformation. This unusual combination gives Volcanion a unique place among mythical Pokémon, both in design and storytelling. Introduced during Generation 6, Volcanion arrived relatively late in the life of Pokémon X and Y. It was discovered through data mining before being officially revealed, which added an extra layer of intrigue. Players knew of its existence long before they could obtain it, leading to months of speculation about its typing, abilities, and role within the lore of the Pokémon world. Visually, Volcanion resembles a sturdy, quadrupedal creature with mechanical-looking structures attached to its back. These circular extensions resemble pipes or turbines, immediately signaling its connection to steam power. The design feels heavier and more industrial than most mythical Pokémon, which often appear delicate or ethereal. Volcanion looks practical and powerful, built for endurance rather than elegance. Its typing, fire and water, was unprecedented at the time of its introduction. The combination itself tells a story. Fire and water are often portrayed as opposites, yet Volcanion merges them seamlessly through steam. This thematic fusion reflects the idea that opposing forces can coexist when balanced correctly, creating something entirely new. Volcanion's signature ability, Water Absorb, reinforces this duality. It can absorb water attacks to heal itself despite being a fire type, turning what might normally be a weakness into strength. This mechanic mirrors the Pokémon's lore, where internal water and fire interact to generate explosive steam pressure. The Pokédex describes Volcanion as having an internal mechanism that vaporizes water stored in its body, releasing powerful bursts of steam from the arms on its back. These descriptions often emphasize immense force, suggesting that Volcanion can reshape landscapes or blast away obstacles with ease. Yet despite this power, Volcanion is usually portrayed as reclusive rather than aggressive. In the movie Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel, Volcanion is given a more personal narrative. It initially appears distrustful of humans, choosing to live apart from civilization alongside abandoned or mistreated Pokémon. This characterization adds emotional depth, framing Volcanion as a guardian rather than a destructive force. Its reluctance to trust humans reflects themes of protection and responsibility. Throughout the film, Volcanion's relationship with humans evolves gradually. This storyline emphasizes understanding and cooperation rather than conflict, aligning with the calm pacing often found in mythical Pokemon stories. Volcanion's strength is portrayed not as a tool for domination, but as something used to protect those who cannot defend themselves. From a development perspective, Volcanion represents an experimental stage in Pokemon design. Its unusual typing and industrial aesthetic show Game Freak exploring concepts inspired by technology and machinery, themes that became more prominent in later generations. The design bridges natural and artificial elements, much like steam itself, a product of natural forces harnessed through structure. The concept of steam power carries historical significance. Steam engines symbolize industrial progress, transformation, and controlled energy. Volcanion's design echoes this symbolism, suggesting a Pokemon that channels raw elements into focused power. The rings and pipes on its back resemble boilers, reinforcing the idea of contained pressure waiting to be released. Volcanion's signature move, Steam Eruption, exemplifies its identity perfectly. The attack combines intense heat and water pressure, delivering powerful damage while potentially burning opponents. This move highlights the paradox at the core of Volcanion's design: water and fire working together rather than canceling each other out. In competitive settings, Volcanion found a niche due to its unique typing and strong special attack. It could threaten a wide variety of opponents, while resisting attacks that would normally trouble fire or water types individually. However, its relatively low speed ensured that it remained balanced, requiring careful planning to use effectively. Lore surrounding Volcanion often describes it living in mountains or hidden regions where steam naturally occurs, such as volcanic areas or geothermal zones. These habitats reinforce its connection to Earth's processes rather than cosmic or mystical origins. Volcanion feels ancient, but in a geological sense rather than mythological. Another interesting detail is Volcanion's rarity even among mythical Pokemon. Unlike some mythicals tied to specific in-game locations, Volcanion's presence feels almost accidental, as though it exists independently of human knowledge. This sense of isolation contributes to its mysterious appeal. Fans have speculated about Volcanion's relationship to human technology. Its design resembles machines, leading some to wonder if it inspired early steam technology in the Pokemon world or evolved alongside industrial development. The games do not provide clear answers, leaving room for interpretation. The balance between aggression and calm is central to Volcanion's character. Steam, by nature, can be gentle or explosive depending on pressure. Volcanion embodies this duality, capable of immense destruction, but often choosing restraint. Its physical design also sets it apart from many mythical Pokemon, which often emphasize slender or humanoid shapes. Volcanion's bulky frame suggests stability and grounded strength. It feels like a creature adapted to harsh environments rather than a wandering spirit. The event distribution process added to Volcanion's mystique. Players received it through limited-time promotions, often accompanied by lore descriptions that emphasized its rarity and mysterious nature. These events reinforce the idea that Volcanion exists on the edges of known Pokemon society. In the broader context of mythical Pokemon, Volcanion represents a shift toward integrating scientific and mechanical themes into mythology. It shows that myths within the Pokemon universe do not always involve ancient gods or cosmic events. Sometimes they arise from natural forces understood through technology. The contrast between Volcanion and other Generation 6 mythicals is also notable. While Hoopa explores dimensional power and Diancie represents crystalline beauty, Volcanion feels practical and protective. Its story centers on trust, companionship, and careful use of strength. Over time, Volcanion has developed a reputation as an underrated mythical Pokémon. Its late introduction and limited availability meant fewer players formed direct memories with it compared to more prominently featured mythicals. Yet those who encountered it often appreciated its unique design and thematic coherence. Ultimately, Volcanion's lore revolves around balance through pressure. Fire and water coexist within it, creating something neither element could achieve alone. This concept mirrors broader themes of coexistence and harmony found throughout Pokemon narratives. As a mythical Pokemon, Volcanion reminds players that power does not always come from mystery alone. Sometimes it comes from understanding how opposing forces can work together. The steam it produces is not chaos, but controlled energy shaped by purpose. And in the quiet rumble of geothermal landscapes, Volcanion remains a symbol of hidden strength, a guardian forged from fire and water, moving silently between isolation and connection, carrying the steady pulse of steam that reminds us how calm and power can exist side by side. Magearna is one of the most unusual mythical Pokemon because its story blends technology, craftsmanship, and emotion in a way that feels both futuristic and deeply historical. Unlike many mythical Pokemon that emerge from natural forces or cosmic mysteries, Magearna was created intentionally by human hands. This origin immediately sets it apart, raising questions about what defines life in the Pokemon world and how artificial creations can develop genuine feelings and individuality. Introduced in Generation 7 alongside Pokemon Sun and Moon, Magearna was revealed before the games officially released, making it one of the first mythical Pokemon many players encountered through promotional material. Its design and concept quickly captured attention because it looked less like a wild creature and more like a carefully engineered machine. Yet despite its mechanical appearance, Magearna's lore emphasizes emotion and compassion rather than cold logic. Visually, Magearna resembles a clockwork doll or ornate automaton. Its rounded body, decorative patterns, and metallic textures evoke old-world craftsmanship rather than modern robotics. The gold and silver color palette gives it a regal, timeless quality, as if it were built in an era where art and engineering were inseparable. This design choice reinforces the idea that Magearna is not just a machine, but a work of art. According to lore, Magearna was created approximately 500 years ago by a brilliant scientist. Rather than being a modern invention, it comes from a time that feels almost historical within the Pokemon universe. This detail is important because it frames Magearna not as cutting-edge technology, but as an ancient marvel, blending myth and science into a single narrative. At the center of Magearna lies what is called the Soul Heart, an artificial construct capable of sensing and responding to the emotions of others. This concept is one of the most intriguing aspects of Magearna's lore. It suggests that empathy itself can be designed, challenging the boundary between natural emotion and engineered intelligence. The Soul Heart is described as the source of Magearna's consciousness. In some interpretations, it functions almost like a life force, allowing Magearna to understand feelings and bond deeply with people and Pokemon. This emotional awareness contrasts sharply with its mechanical exterior, creating a powerful thematic duality. Magearna's typing, Steel and Fairy, reinforces this balance. Steel reflects its artificial, constructed nature, while Fairy suggests something magical or emotional beyond pure machinery. The combination symbolizes harmony between technology and wonder, between logic and heart. Its signature ability, Soul Heart, connects directly to its lore. In battle, Magearna's special attack rises when another Pokemon faints, reflecting the idea that it gathers emotional energy from surrounding events. This mechanic gives gameplay meaning to its narrative concept, tying emotional resonance directly to power. In the movie Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel, Magearna plays a central role. The story portrays it as gentle and caring, capable of forming strong attachments despite being an artificial creation. The film explores themes of autonomy and purpose, questioning whether beings created for specific roles can choose their own paths. Magearna's interactions in the movie emphasize kindness and curiosity rather than aggression. Even though it possesses significant power, its personality remains calm and compassionate. This portrayal reinforces the idea that strength does not need to be loud or destructive. From a development standpoint, Magearna represents an interesting evolution in Pokemon design philosophy. Previous artificial Pokemon, like Porygon or Genesect, often focused on digital or scientific themes. Magearna, however, leans heavily into craftsmanship and emotional connection, suggesting a shift toward more nuanced interpretations of artificial life. Its design appears inspired by mechanical dolls, music boxes, and historical automata. These devices were once considered marvels of engineering, capable of mimicking life through intricate clockwork. By drawing on these inspirations, the designers created a Pokemon that feels both nostalgic and futuristic. One hidden detail that many players overlook is how Magearna's movements resemble those of a winding toy or dancer. Its animations often feel smooth yet deliberate, reinforcing the idea of precision craftsmanship. This subtle animation style contributes greatly to its character. Magearna also has a rare alternate coloration known as original color, Magearna, referencing its appearance before aging and exposure altered its outer shell. This detail suggests that even artificial beings experience the passage of time, adding depth to its lore. In competitive play, Magearna became known for its versatility. Strong defensive typing, combined with high special attack and access to a wide move pool, allowed it to fill multiple roles. Its Soul Heart ability often turned battles in its favor as momentum shifted, reflecting its lore-driven resilience. Despite its power, Magearna does not feel overwhelming thematically. Its role as a protector and companion keeps its narrative grounded in empathy rather than dominance. This distinguishes it from many mythical Pokemon associated with world-altering abilities. The idea of a Pokemon created by humans raises broader questions within the Pokemon universe. If humans can build beings capable of emotion and independent thought, what separates natural Pokemon from artificial ones? Magearna's story does not answer directly, but encourages reflection. Its connection to ancient craftsmanship also implies that human ingenuity has long been part of Pokemon history. The scientist who created Magearna is never fully explained, leaving space for speculation about forgotten technologies and lost knowledge. Another subtle aspect of Magearna's lore is its relationship with memory. Because it can sense emotions, it effectively stores echoes of experiences through interactions. This makes Magearna feel like a living record of relationships, similar in some ways to Meloetta's connection to songs and memory. The contrast between Magearna's soft personality and mechanical design contributes to its enduring popularity. It challenges expectations, showing that artificial appearance does not imply emotional emptiness. Event distribution further reinforced Magearna's mythical status. In Pokemon Sun and Moon, players could obtain Magearna through a QR code scanning feature, a modern distribution method that reflected its technological themes while still making it feel special. Over time, Magerna has appeared in various media as a symbol of compassion and loyalty. Its stories often emphasize healing and connection rather than conflict, aligning well with the calming tone suitable for long-form storytelling. Within the broader group of mythical Pokémon, Magyarna occupies a unique position. It is not a guardian of nature or a cosmic traveler. Instead, it represents human creativity and the possibility that emotions can exist even within constructed forms. This theme resonates quietly. Magarna suggests that life is not defined solely by origin, but by connection and intention. Whether built or born, what matters is the ability to feel and care. As players learn about Magarna, they encounter a mythical Pokémon that bridges past and future, technology and emotion, art and science. Its story encourages reflection on creation itself, not as an act of control, but as an expression of understanding. And in the gentle, ticking rhythm implied by its clockwork design, Magearna remains a symbol of harmony, a reminder that even in a world of legendary powers and ancient myths, quiet compassion can be just as powerful as any force of nature. Marshadow is one of the most mysterious mythical Pokémon ever introduced, not because of immense size or dramatic power, but because of how quietly it exists within the world. Unlike mythical Pokémon that announce their presence through grand legends or ancient ruins, Marshadow is defined by absence and subtlety. Its lore describes a creature that watches from the shadows, observing rather than interfering, appearing only when necessary. This quiet identity makes Marshadow uniquely suited to calm, reflective storytelling. Introduced in Generation 7 during the era of Pokémon Sun and Moon, Marshadow arrived late in the generation's promotional cycle, which immediately gave it an air of secrecy. It was not heavily teased in-game, and players learned about it mostly through special events and external announcements. This approach matched its theme perfectly, as Marshadow is meant to feel hidden and elusive. Visually, Marshadow appears small and simple compared to many mythical Pokémon. Its body is dark gray, with wisps of shadow-like energy forming a smoky crown around its head. Its eyes glow faintly, giving the impression of quiet awareness rather than aggression. The design communicates stealth and restraint. It does not need bright colors or elaborate shapes to stand out. Its minimalism is intentional. Marshadow's typing, fighting, and ghost is one of the most unusual combinations in the series. Fighting types typically represent direct, physical strength and discipline, while ghost types are associated with mystery, intangibility, and spiritual presence. Bringing these opposites together creates an identity centered on hidden combat and silent observation. This duality is reflected in its lore. Marshadow is said to slip into the shadows of others, imitating their movements and learning their abilities. Rather than attacking openly, it studies first. This behavior suggests intelligence and patience, qualities rarely emphasized in mythical Pokémon narratives focused on overwhelming power. Its signature move, Spectral Thief, reinforces this idea. The move steals stat boosts from opponents before attacking, symbolizing Marshadow's ability to learn from and adapt to those it observes. Mechanically, it rewards timing and awareness rather than brute force, aligning perfectly with its thematic identity. In the movie Pokémon the Movie, I Choose You, Marshadow plays a significant role as a guardian of balance. It observes Ash and his companions from the shadows, intervening when corruption threatens harmony. The film portrays Marshadow as neither fully benevolent nor malicious, but as a being influenced by surrounding emotions. When exposed to negativity, it becomes hostile, suggesting that shadows reflect what they surround. This portrayal adds emotional complexity to Marshadow's character. It is not inherently dangerous, but responds to the tone of its environment. This mirrors the way shadows themselves depend on light and perspective. From a development standpoint, Marshadow represents a continuation of Generation 7's focus on themes of identity and hidden strength. The Alola region introduced concepts such as Ultra Beasts and interdimensional travel, but Marshadow grounded these ideas in something more personal. Instead of cosmic scale, it emphasized individuality and adaptation. The design inspiration behind Marshadow appears connected to notions of shadowboxing and mimicry. Shadowboxing is a training technique where fighters practice movements against imaginary opponents, blending perfectly with Marshadow's ability to imitate others from within their shadows. This subtle connection between concept and design showcases thoughtful development. One hidden detail in Marshadow's animations is how fluidly it moves, almost melting into darkness before reappearing. These movements reinforce its intangible quality, making it feel more like living energy than a physical creature. In competitive play, Marshadow quickly became notable for its speed and offensive versatility. Its combination of fighting and ghost moves allowed it to bypass many common defenses, while Spectral Thief gave it unique utility against setup-focused opponents. Despite its small size, Marshadow's battle presence felt significant, echoing the idea that quiet strength can be unexpectedly powerful. Yet Marshadow's lore does not present it as aggressive. Instead, it is often described as shy or cautious, avoiding direct contact unless necessary. This personality trait makes it feel more like a watcher than a warrior. Its rarity also contributes to its mystique. Event distribution meant that many players never encountered Marshadow directly during Generation 7's peak. Stories and images circulated online, reinforcing its reputation as a hidden figure within the Pokémon world. Another fascinating aspect of Marshadow's lore is its connection to emotional energy. In the anime, negative emotions amplify its darker tendencies, suggesting that shadows can absorb the feelings around them. This thematic choice adds symbolic depth, portraying shadows as reflections rather than inherently evil forces. Marshadow's small stature contrasts sharply with many mythical Pokémon that emphasize grandeur. This contrast reinforces its role as a silent observer. It does not dominate landscapes or command elements. It simply exists quietly, learning and adapting. Fans have speculated about Marshadow's relationship with other ghost-type Pokémon, particularly those associated with spirits or memories. Some interpretations suggest it represents the idea of unacknowledged strength, the unseen effort behind visible achievements. The name Marshadow appears to combine martial, implying discipline or control, with shadow, highlighting its stealthy nature. This combination encapsulates its identity as both fighter and phantom. Thematically, Marshadow introduces an unusual perspective on power. It suggests that strength does not always come from visibility. Sometimes, the most effective force is one that remains unseen until the critical moment. In the broader context of mythical Pokémon, Marshadow serves as a contrast to flashy or world-altering figures. Its story feels personal and introspective, focusing on observation and emotional influence rather than grand mythology. This quieter narrative style makes Marshadow particularly fitting for slow-paced storytelling. The idea of a creature moving silently through shadows, learning without interrupting, aligns naturally with calm and reflective tones. Marshadow also reflects cultural inspirations related to shadow spirits and martial discipline. Its design and behavior evoke themes found in folklore where spirits observe humans, revealing themselves only when balance is threatened. Over time, Marshadow has gained appreciation for its understated complexity. Players who initially overlooked it often later recognize how cohesive its design, typing, abilities, and lore truly are. Ultimately, Marshadow represents hidden potential. It reminds players that visibility is not required for significance. The shadows themselves can hold wisdom, patience, and strength. As a mythical Pokémon, it expands the definition of myth away from grand spectacle and toward subtle presence. It watches, learns, and waits, embodying the quiet power of observation. And in the soft edges where light fades into darkness, Marshadow continues to exist, unseen but aware, a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful stories are the ones unfolding quietly in the background, waiting to be noticed only by those who slow down enough to look. Zeraora is a mythical Pokémon that embodies movement. While many mythical Pokémon are associated with ancient legends, hidden ruins, or mysterious rituals, Zeraora feels immediate and energetic, defined by speed and electricity rather than history. Its presence suggests motion rather than stillness, giving it a unique identity among mythical Pokémon whose stories often center on long-forgotten myths. Zeraora feels like a force that exists in the present moment, constantly in motion, never staying in one place for long. Introduced during Generation 7, Zeraora first appeared through special events rather than standard gameplay. Its reveal generated strong interest because its design resembled a fast, feline fighter, unlike previous electric-type mythical Pokémon. Players immediately noticed its athletic build and dynamic posture, which communicated speed even when standing still. This emphasis on movement became central to its identity in both lore and gameplay. Visually, Zeraora resembles a bipedal wildcat with bright yellow fur marked by black accents reminiscent of lightning patterns. Its sharp claws and lean frame suggest agility and precision rather than brute strength. The design draws clear inspiration from predators known for quick bursts of movement, reinforcing the idea of instant acceleration and controlled power. Unlike many mythical Pokémon with ornate or abstract designs, Zeraora feels grounded and functional. Every detail appears purpose-built for speed. The long limbs, angular features, and flowing lines create the impression of a creature always ready to spring into action. Even its fur appears to move like electricity, coursing across its body. Zeraora's pure electric typing emphasizes its connection to energy and motion. Electricity in the Pokémon world often symbolizes speed, reaction time, and dynamic power, and Zeraora represents these traits at an extreme level. Rather than manipulating storms or controlling weather, like some legendary Pokémon, Zeraora generates and channels electricity directly through its own body. Its signature move, Plasma Fists, highlights this concept. The attack transforms normal-type moves into electric-type attacks for the rest of the turn, symbolizing the way Zeraora's energy reshapes the battlefield around it. This mechanic reinforces the idea that Zeraora's presence changes the environment through sheer electrical intensity. Lore descriptions suggest that Zeraora stores electricity in its body and releases it through its claws. The resulting movements are described as nearly invisible due to extreme speed. Some Pokédex entries mention that it can close the distance between opponents in an instant, leaving after images behind. This imagery creates an almost cinematic sense of motion, as if Zeraora exists slightly ahead of perception. In the movie The Power of Us, Zeraora is portrayed as protective yet cautious, living independently from humans after a traumatic encounter. The story presents Zeraora as a guardian figure who values freedom and avoids unnecessary conflict. This portrayal adds emotional depth, showing that speed and power are balanced by restraint and loyalty. The relationship between Zeraora and human characters in the film emphasizes trust earned gradually rather than instantly. Zeraora's reluctance to rely on others reflects its independent nature, while its eventual cooperation highlights themes of connection and understanding. From a development perspective, Zeraora appears to represent an evolution of electric-type design. Earlier electric mythicals or legendaries often emphasized storms or mechanical themes, but Zeraora focuses on physical agility. This shift allowed the designers to explore electricity as movement and reflex rather than environmental power. The name Zeraora likely combines elements suggesting zero lag or instant action with aura, hinting at electrical energy surrounding the body. This interpretation aligns with its role as a Pokémon defined by immediate response and kinetic force. In competitive play, Zeraora quickly became known for its exceptional speed stat, allowing it to outpace most opponents naturally. Its move pool supported aggressive strategies, giving players tools to maintain momentum. However, despite its offensive potential, Zeraora required careful positioning because it lacked overwhelming durability. This balance reflected its lore-driven identity, fast and powerful, but not invincible. Another interesting detail is Zeraora's movement animations, which often emphasize quick dashes and fluid motion rather than heavy attacks. These animations reinforce the idea that Zeraora fights through precision and timing rather than sheer force. Thematically, Zeraora represents the modern era within the Pokémon world. Unlike mythicals tied to ancient civilizations or forgotten rituals, Zeraora feels contemporary, almost urban in energy. Its design and behavior suggest adaptation to fast-changing environments. Fans have speculated about Zeraora's ecological niche. Some imagine it inhabiting mountain ranges where storms frequently occur, while others believe it may roam widely, following energy sources or avoiding permanent territories. The games leave much of this open, allowing Zeraora's mystique to remain intact. The contrast between Zeraora and other mythicals from Generation 7 is striking. While Marshadow hides in shadows and Magarna reflects craftsmanship, Zeraora embodies raw movement and immediacy. This diversity highlights how mythical Pokémon can represent vastly different aspects of the world. Zeraora's connection to electricity also carries symbolic meaning. Electricity represents potential energy, sudden change, and the power to connect distant points instantly. These themes align with Zeraora's narrative role as a swift protector capable of arriving exactly when needed. Event distribution for Zeraora contributed to its rarity and mystique. Players received it through limited-time events tied to movies or special promotions, reinforcing the idea that encounters with Zeraora are rare and significant. One subtle aspect of Zeraora's character is its quiet demeanor. Despite its energetic design, it is not portrayed as chaotic or reckless. Instead, it acts with purpose, choosing when to intervene and when to remain distant. This balance between energy and control adds depth to its personality. The relationship between speed and calm is central to understanding Zeraora. True speed, the lore suggests, comes from focus and precision rather than frantic motion. This concept parallels martial arts principles, where efficiency and awareness matter more than aggression. In the broader context of mythical Pokemon, Zeraora expands the idea of what myth can represent. Not every myth needs ancient origins. Some myths emerge from stories of rare, fleeting encounters, a flash of lightning glimpsed only briefly before disappearing again. Over time, Zeraora has become popular among fans who appreciate fast-paced playstyles and sleek designs. Its appeal lies in clarity of concept. Every aspect of Zeraora, from visual design to abilities, reinforces the same central idea of speed and energy. Ultimately, Zeraora represents motion without chaos. It reminds players that power can be expressed through quick, decisive action rather than overwhelming force. Its presence feels like a sudden spark, bright and brief but unforgettable. And in the quiet moment before a storm breaks, Zeraora exists as a symbol of potential, a mythical Pokemon that moves like lightning, protecting from the edges of perception, forever chasing the next horizon, where energy and speed meet in perfect harmony. Meltan is one of the most unusual mythical Pokemon ever introduced, not only because of its design, but because of the way it entered the Pokemon world. While most mythical Pokemon are revealed through traditional announcements or hidden events within games, Meltan first appeared as a mystery. Players encountered it unexpectedly during a special event connected to Pokemon Go, sparking confusion and excitement as the community tried to understand what it was. This unconventional introduction immediately set Meltan apart, making its story as much about discovery as about lore. Introduced during Generation 7, Meltan became the first mythical Pokemon primarily associated with cross-game connectivity. Its existence bridged the mobile world of Pokemon Go with the mainline titles Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Let's Go, Eevee. This connection reflected a new era for the franchise, where Pokemon could exist across multiple platforms and experiences. Visually, Meltan looks unlike almost any Pokemon before it. Its body is a small pool of liquid metal, shaped into a simple, amorphous form, topped with a single golden, hexagonal nut acting as a head. A single black eye sits within the opening of the nut, giving Meltan an expression that feels curious and innocent rather than imposing. The design appears intentionally minimalistic, emphasizing simplicity and flexibility. This simplicity hides fascinating details. Meltan's body is composed of liquid metal that can shift and reshape itself, allowing it to move fluidly and adapt to environments. Pokédex entries describe Meltan as capable of dissolving metal objects and absorbing them into its own body for nourishment. This behavior suggests a creature deeply connected to industrial materials, yet still driven by basic curiosity and exploration. Meltan's typing as a pure steel Pokemon reinforces its metallic identity. Steel types often symbolize resilience and durability, but Meltan presents these traits in a softer, almost playful way. Rather than appearing armored or mechanical, it feels unfinished, as though constantly evolving through accumulation and adaptation. Its signature move, Double Iron Bash, in its evolved form Melmetal, hints at the potential hidden within Meltan's small frame. While Meltan itself is relatively weak in battle, its existence as a pre-evolution to a larger, mythical Pokemon adds narrative depth. Unlike most mythicals that stand alone, Meltan represents growth and collective strength. One of the most unique aspects of Meltan's lore is its ability to gather in groups. Unlike many mythical Pokemon that are singular and isolated, Meltan appears in large numbers. These groups can merge together to form Melmetal, suggesting a communal approach to evolution rather than individual advancement. This concept challenges traditional ideas about mythical Pokémon rarity, presenting myth not as uniqueness, but as cooperation. The reveal of Meltan itself became a memorable moment in Pokémon history. During a Pokémon Go Community Day event, players suddenly encountered unfamiliar Pokémon that transformed into Ditto when caught. Later, official announcements revealed Meltan as a brand new mythical species. This playful misdirection turned the community into active participants in the mystery, reflecting Meltan's theme of curiosity and discovery. From a development standpoint, Meltan represents Game Freak and the Pokémon Company experimenting with modern distribution methods. By tying its acquisition to Pokémon Go connectivity, the developers encouraged players to engage across platforms. Meltan became a symbol of the franchise's evolving ecosystem. The design inspiration behind Meltan appears rooted in industrial hardware and alchemy. The hexagonal nut evokes machinery and engineering, while the liquid body suggests malleability and transformation. This blend of industrial and organic elements creates a Pokémon that feels both mechanical and alive. In the anime, Meltan is portrayed as friendly and playful, often interacting with Ash and his companions in light-hearted ways. Its behavior emphasizes innocence and curiosity, reinforcing the idea that despite its metallic composition, Meltan is emotionally expressive and social. One charming detail in the anime is Meltan's fascination with eating metal objects, which is portrayed almost as a childlike habit. This behavior adds personality while connecting directly to its Pokédex descriptions. Meltan's evolution into Melmetal is particularly significant. Unlike traditional evolution methods involving leveling or stones, Meltan evolves through collecting a large quantity of Meltan candy in Pokémon Go. This requirement reflects its communal nature, where many small individuals contribute to a stronger whole. The idea of multiple entities combining into one aligns with themes of unity and collaboration. In competitive contexts, Meltan itself sees limited use due to modest stats, but its evolution Melmetal became notable for its physical power and durability. This progression mirrors narrative themes of growth through accumulation and patience. Thematically, Meltan represents adaptation in a modern world. Its metallic body and affinity for industrial materials suggest coexistence with human technology rather than ancient wilderness. This positions Meltan as a mythical Pokémon connected to contemporary environments rather than distant history. Fans have speculated about Meltan's origins. Some theories suggest it may have existed unnoticed for centuries, blending into industrial landscapes due to its small size and metallic composition. Others believe it emerged recently as technology advanced, reflecting humanity's increasing influence on the environment. The name Meltan combines melt and perhaps tan or metal, reinforcing its identity as molten material given life. The straightforward naming mirrors its simple yet effective design philosophy. Another hidden detail lies in Meltan's eye, which appears as a floating black sphere within the hexagonal nut. This singular eye gives Meltan an almost alien quality, suggesting awareness that feels focused and intense despite its small body. In the broader context of mythical Pokémon, Meltan represents a shift toward collaborative storytelling between players and developers. Its reveal relied on community involvement, making discovery itself part of the myth. This approach aligns with Meltan's personality. It is not distant or unreachable. Instead, it invites interaction and exploration. Its myth grows through shared experience rather than isolated legends. The contrast between Melton and traditional mythicals is striking. Where others are solitary guardians or ancient beings, Melton exists in numbers and evolves through unity. This redefines rarity as something that emerges from cooperation rather than exclusivity. Over time, Melton has become a symbol of the franchise's ability to reinvent itself while maintaining core themes of curiosity and friendship. Its playful design and unconventional introduction demonstrate that mythical Pokémon can still surprise players in new ways. Ultimately, Meltan's story revolves around small beginnings. It shows that even the tiniest creature, seemingly simple and unremarkable, can become something extraordinary through connection and growth. As players encounter Melton, they are reminded that discovery often begins with curiosity. A strange metal creature appearing unexpectedly can spark investigation, collaboration, and wonder across an entire community. And in the gentle shimmer of molten metal, Melton remains a symbol of possibility, a mythical Pokémon born from curiosity, growing through unity, and quietly proving that myths can evolve just as much as the world around them. Zarude is a mythical Pokémon defined by movement through dense forests, adaptability, and a strong sense of survival. Unlike mythical Pokémon associated with ancient artifacts or cosmic phenomena, Zarude feels grounded in nature. Its story focuses on ecosystems, community, and the balance between aggression and protection. This grounded identity gives Zarude a distinct place among mythical Pokémon, presenting myth not as something distant and mysterious, but as something alive within the natural world. Introduced during Generation 8, alongside Pokémon Sword and Shield, Zarude was revealed through promotional materials connected to the movie Secrets of the Jungle. Its design and lore immediately emphasized wilderness themes. Rather than appearing delicate or mystical, Zarude looks practical and athletic, built for climbing, running, and surviving in dense environments. Visually, Zarude resembles a dark-furred primate covered in vine-like growths. Its posture and movements suggest agility and strength, while its bright eyes and expressive face communicate intelligence. The vines wrapped around its body are not merely decorative. They play a central role in its abilities and identity, acting as tools for movement, combat, and protection. Zarude's typing, dark and grass, reinforces its dual nature. Grass types are often associated with growth, healing, and nature, while dark types symbolize cunning, survival instincts, and adaptability. Combined, these types create a Pokémon that thrives through intelligence and resilience rather than pure power. According to lore, Zarude lives deep within jungles in tightly knit groups. These communities function almost like family units, emphasizing cooperation and collective defense. This social structure distinguishes Zarude from many mythical Pokémon, which are often portrayed as solitary beings. Zarude's myth comes not from isolation, but from belonging. Pokédex entries describe Zarude using its vines to swing between trees and strike opponents with precision. These vines can also absorb nutrients from the ground or heal wounds, suggesting a deep connection to its environment. The ability to manipulate living plant matter gives Zarude a practical relationship with nature, one rooted in survival rather than symbolism alone. In the movie Secrets of the Jungle, Zarude plays a central role in a story about family and identity. A young human raised by Zarude forms bonds that challenge assumptions about separation between humans and Pokémon. The film portrays Zarude as protective and cautious, valuing the safety of its group above everything else. This portrayal adds emotional depth to Zarude's character. While initially appearing fierce and defensive, it becomes clear that its aggression stems from responsibility and care. The story emphasizes themes of belonging, trust, and the difficulty of accepting outsiders. From a development perspective, Zarude represents a return to more animalistic, mythical designs. In recent generations, many mythicals focused on abstract concepts or technological themes. Zarude instead draws heavily from real-world primates and jungle ecosystems, creating a mythical Pokémon that feels physically believable. The design inspiration likely includes monkeys and apes, known for social behavior and problem-solving abilities. This influence supports Zarude's portrayal as intelligent and cooperative rather than purely instinct-driven. Its signature move, Jungle Healing, reflects its nurturing side. The move restores health and removes status conditions for Zarude and its allies, emphasizing support and recovery rather than destruction. This ability reinforces the idea that survival in the jungle depends on mutual care as much as strength. In competitive play, Zarude found a niche as a versatile Pokémon capable of both offensive and supportive roles. Its balanced stats and typing allowed it to adapt to different strategies, reflecting its lore-driven adaptability. However, it was never overwhelming, maintaining balance through specific weaknesses and limitations. One hidden detail in Zarude's lore is its ability to produce healing energy through its vines. This suggests that the vines are not separate plants but extensions of its own biology, blending animal and plant characteristics in an unusual way. The name Zarude likely combines elements suggesting vines and wildness, reinforcing its identity as a creature shaped by dense forests and survival instincts. The simplicity of the name matches its grounded design philosophy. Zarude's behavior in media often highlights caution. It watches unfamiliar situations carefully before acting, reflecting intelligence developed through life in unpredictable environments. This cautious nature contrasts with the playful innocence seen in some other mythical Pokémon. Another interesting aspect of Zarude's lore is how it protects its territory. Rather than seeking conflict, Zarude appears to avoid unnecessary confrontation, using stealth and mobility to manage threats. This behavior aligns with real-world animal survival strategies. The introduction of Dada Zarude, a special form associated with the movie, added further narrative depth. This version of Zarude wears a pink scarf given by the human child it protected, symbolizing emotional connection and acceptance. The scarf serves as a visual reminder that relationships can evolve beyond fear or instinct. Fans often discuss how Zarude feels more like a legendary guardian than a traditional mythical Pokémon. Its connection to a specific habitat and social group grounds it in the world's ecology rather than abstract mythology. The jungle setting associated with Zarude also contributes to atmosphere. Dense forests symbolize both danger and safety, reflecting the duality of Zarude itself. The environment shapes behavior, emphasizing adaptability and teamwork. Compared to other mythical Pokémon, Zarude's story feels personal and intimate. Instead of world-ending stakes or cosmic events, its narrative revolves around family and belonging. This smaller scale allows emotional themes to take center stage. Over time, Zarude has become appreciated for its grounded approach to myth. It shows that mythical status does not require extraordinary origins. A creature deeply connected to its environment can be just as legendary through its actions and relationships. From a symbolic perspective, Zarude represents resilience. The jungle is a place of constant competition and cooperation, and Zarude's design captures both aspects. Its vines can heal or attack, reflecting choices shaped by circumstance. In the broader context of the Pokemon world, Zarude expands the idea of myth by focusing on ecological harmony. It reminds players that legends can arise from communities and ecosystems, not just isolated beings. Ultimately, Zarude's story emphasizes survival through connection. It protects its group, adapts to challenges, and slowly learns to trust beyond familiar boundaries. This narrative resonates quietly, offering a calming yet meaningful perspective. And deep within the shadows of dense forests, where sunlight filters softly through leaves, Zarude remains a symbol of balance, a mythical Pokemon shaped by nature, guided by loyalty, and endlessly moving through the rhythms of life that continue far from human eyes. Diancie is a mythical Pokemon that feels both delicate and powerful, combining themes of beauty, geological time, and transformation. Unlike mythical Pokemon associated with space or technology, Diancie's lore is deeply rooted in the Earth itself. It represents natural processes that unfold slowly over immense periods, where pressure and patience create something rare and extraordinary. This connection to crystals and gradual change gives Diancie a calm, almost timeless presence within the Pokemon world. Introduced in Generation 6 alongside Pokemon X and Y, Diancie immediately drew attention for its elegant design and unique relationship to another Pokemon species. Unlike many mythicals that appear completely separate from existing lineages, Diancie is said to be a rare mutation of Carbink, a small rock fairy Pokemon found in caves and mineral-rich environments. This origin story makes Diancie feel like a natural evolution of geological processes rather than a distant, unreachable being. Visually, Diancie resembles a living gemstone. Its body is pale and crystalline, adorned with pink diamonds and ornate shapes that resemble a royal gown or crown. The design blends natural mineral patterns with a regal aesthetic, giving Diancie an appearance that feels both organic and ceremonial. It is easy to imagine Diancie as a figure of legend hidden deep beneath the earth, untouched by time. Its typing as rock and fairy perfectly captures this duality. Rock types symbolize stability, age, and endurance, while fairy types often represent beauty, wonder, and magical qualities. Together, they suggest a being born from natural forces, but elevated into something almost mythical through rarity and transformation. Pokédex entries describe Diancie as capable of compressing carbon in the air to create diamonds instantly. These diamonds are said to be incredibly pure and beautiful, reinforcing Diancie's connection to creation and refinement. The process mirrors real-world geological formation, where immense pressure and time transform ordinary materials into precious gems. This ability to create diamonds also carries symbolic meaning. Diamonds represent resilience and clarity, formed only under intense conditions. Diancie embodies this idea, suggesting that beauty and strength often emerge through pressure and patience. In the movie Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction, Diancie's story centers on responsibility and growth. As the ruler of a hidden kingdom of Carbink, Diancie seeks the power to protect its home from collapse. The narrative emphasizes self-discovery, showing Diancie learning to trust its own abilities rather than relying solely on external solutions. The film portrays Diancie as gentle and compassionate, yet uncertain at first. This vulnerability makes its journey relatable, framing power not as something instantly understood, but as something developed over time. From a development perspective, Diancie represents an interesting design choice because it bridges ordinary species and Mythical status. By connecting Diancie to Carbink, the developers created a sense of continuity within the Pokemon ecosystem. Mythical Pokemon are often seen as isolated legends, but Diancie demonstrates that extraordinary individuals can emerge from familiar origins. Another significant aspect of Diancie's design is its Mega Evolution, introduced in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Mega Diancie becomes more refined and elegant, with expanded crystal formations resembling a flowing gown made of light. This transformation emphasizes clarity and brilliance, reflecting the idea of reaching one's full potential. Mechanically, Mega Diancie gains increased speed and offensive power, allowing it to shift from a defensive role to a more proactive battle style. This change mirrors its narrative arc of gaining confidence and embracing inner strength. In competitive play, Diancie and its Mega form became known for their strong offensive presence, combined with unique typing. Access to moves like Diamond Storm allowed it to strike powerfully while potentially raising defensive stats, blending offense and resilience. One hidden detail in Diancie's lore is how rare its mutation from Carbink is described to be. This rarity reinforces its mythical status while grounding it in natural processes. It suggests that myths can emerge gradually, arising from subtle changes rather than sudden supernatural events. Fans often interpret Diancie as a symbol of transformation through experience. Just as carbon becomes diamond through pressure, Diancie grows through challenges and responsibility. This metaphor adds emotional depth to its otherwise elegant design. The name Diancie appears to combine diamond with a graceful suffix, emphasizing refinement and beauty. The simplicity of the name aligns with its aesthetic clarity. Diancie's environment also contributes to its identity. Hidden underground kingdoms and crystal caves create a sense of quiet isolation. Unlike mythical Pokemon tied to skies or oceans, Diancie belongs to still, enclosed spaces where time feels slower. The relationship between Diancie and Carbink adds an element of community often absent from mythical lore. Diancie is not alone, but connected to a larger group, serving as protector and leader rather than solitary wanderer. This leadership role distinguishes Diancie from many mythicals that avoid human or Pokemon societies. It carries responsibility, suggesting that myth can involve service as much as mystery. The visual motif of diamonds also connects to light. Crystals refract and reflect, transforming simple illumination into dazzling patterns. Symbolically, this reflects Diancie's ability to reveal beauty through perspective. In the broader context of mythical Pokemon, Diancie represents elegance born from natural processes rather than artificial creation or cosmic intervention. Its story feels grounded and gentle, emphasizing growth rather than conflict. Event distribution for Diancie reinforced its rarity. Players obtained it through limited time events, often accompanied by special locations or story elements that highlighted its connection to hidden kingdoms. Over time, Diancie has become appreciated for its balanced design. It is visually striking without being overwhelming, powerful without being destructive, and mythical without feeling disconnected from the broader Pokemon world. Thematically, Diancie suggests that extraordinary transformation can come from ordinary beginnings. A small Carbink, under the right conditions, can become something legendary. This idea aligns beautifully with Pokemon's broader themes of growth and potential. As players encounter Diancie, they engage with a mythical Pokemon that embodies patience and refinement. Its presence feels calm and luminous, inviting reflection rather than urgency. Ultimately, Diance's story is about becoming. Pressure shapes carbon into diamonds, and experience shapes individuals into leaders. The journey from hidden cave dweller to radiant guardian mirrors this process of gradual change. And deep beneath the earth, where crystals grow silently in darkness, Diancie remains a symbol of quiet transformation, a mythical Pokemon born from time itself, shining softly as a reminder that the most enduring beauty often forms slowly, far from the surface, waiting patiently to be discovered.